Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sincerely Agile with Mary. Now, my name is Mary Lanignon. I am an enterprise coach and I am your host as always. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, this is the show where we promote the lean agile mindset, where we learn, unlearn, and relearn. And of course, it's a place where we want to be awesome and wholesome together. Today, we're looking at embracing Agile. Now, for those of you who have been joining us, you know it's all about Agile. And today, we're talking about embracing Agile. And to join me on this conversation is Kemmy Raji. And I'm just going to invite her to the screen. Hello, Kemmy. How are you?
Hi, Mary. Good to be here. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
It's so nice to have you on the show.
Same
And
here.
I love your color. I love that color, mustard, one of my favorites.
Thank you.
Nice to have you on the show, Kemmy.
Thank you for having me.
Now we have people joining us already. I can see 4 people with us live. Let's see what's in the comments. Ooh, we have my usual Ronke's here. Hello, Ronke. Ronke's calling from London. And we have some other people joining us. Please let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know where you're joining us from. So, Kemmy, how have you been? I mean, it's hard to start these shows and not talk about the last 18 months, right?
Oh, yeah.
What has that been like for you in Canada? Because you're based in Canada.
Yes, I am based in Canada and we are still locked down. And only yesterday I got my second vaccine, so my arm is hurting badly and everywhere is just aching. I guess that's the sacrifice we have to all make to keep ourselves and any other person around us safe. So it is still, well, I think things are going to change very soon in Ontario, but it is so much still the same that we can't even travel to the neighboring country, which is the US, right? All right, and without going through all these hurdles. So even to travel anywhere else I was planning on traveling, and the hurdles which I have to jump, even though I'm vaccinated, I still need the COVID test. I still need, when I return, and I can go on and on, Mary.
And that puts you off, right? That totally puts you off.
I abandoned it completely. So now I'm not going.
And that's exactly my plan for the rest of this year. I am not going anywhere. However, I have taken my first jab. I'm just waiting on my second jab now, which is sometime in August, I think, which is next month. Now, talking about business, how has that been for you? Have you been working from home? I mean, I know you're an independent businesswoman as well in this space. How has that fared for you?
I think the last time I went to an office was last year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's over a year now. I don't even know what an office looks like anymore. So I've been working from home pretty much. I remember when I first started, I was so ecstatic because I'm an introvert. So oh my gosh, this is real. I could actually work from home. I don't have to travel. But after a month, it dawned on me that this is not the life you want to lead. Right. So yeah, it is hard, and it's even harder for people who have business which has structure. So like the restaurant, the salon, and it's even harder for them here in Ontario because they're
much harder.
Yeah.
Much harder.
Yes.
And because obviously that's a customer facing kind of business.
Exactly.
You want people to physically come into your organization. I mean, talking about working from home, I love it. And I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an introvert. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm quite balanced between being an introvert and an extrovert. I don't miss the travel. That's the thing for me.
Yeah, I don't miss the travel too.
I don't miss the commuting at all. But however, that hybrid model, having the, ability to choose, actually having that choice of when you go to work, I think that is heaven,
Yeah. I think we are now at a point where you have to request to go to the office. Mm-hmm. It used to be the reverse, where if you were going to work from home, you will have to put in an application, a request, and say, "Hey, I'm going to work from home next month," and then your manager has to approve it. And then you have to work with your team and say, "Hey, I'm working from home. Is there anything you need from me?" Now things are going to change.
Absolutely. And we have Femi Odelusi just joined us. Hello, Femi. Nice to have you
Hello,
here.
Kemmy.
Nice to have you here. Right. Let me introduce Kemmy Raji to our audience. I'm just going to read your bio. Kemi is an executive coach trained in coactive and systemic coaching. She's also a member of the International Coaching Federation. She is Scrum Alliance's first female guide level certified Agile coach in Canada. She is very visible within the Agile community, volunteering her time and knowledge to the growth of Agile. Kemi is the founder of Discovering Agile Community. She's on the board of Agile Alliance and a volunteer manager for women in Agile. Kemi is passionate about reducing poverty in Africa and as a result founded an NGO named Alleviating Poverty Through Education Initiative in Nigeria. The NGO offers opportunity to children from disadvantaged backgrounds to attend and stay in school. The children are also empowered through teaching them 21st century skills. Now, Kemi, this is an impressive resume. Very, very impressive. I mean, you're so visible in the Agile community, you do a lot of volunteering, and then you're still busy with NGOs in Africa, in Nigeria to be specific. But when you're not working, Kemi, what do you do for fun? Because that was all work. What do you do for fun?
Fun? Oh, fun. I don't know what fun means. I guess I derive fun from other people. I've got a toddler, a 4-year-old, who is on the autistic spectrum. So I have to run after him and create fun. So when he's imitating and learning new things, I guess that's where my fun comes from. Yeah. So
interesting. Coincidentally, my grandson is about to turn, well, in about 5 months' time, will be 4 years old, and he's on the spectrum as well. And he's just amazing. He does a lot of amazing things. He knows all his numbers, he knows all his alphabets, and he knows, pictures. And he will drag me literally to those numbers to teach me ABC.
I know. my 4-year-old is amazing. Some of the things that he reads, I mean, no one teaches him how to read it because he does phonetics himself. So because he knows that, he would just read out. Sometimes I pronounce something and he will correct me.
Wow.
And he can't speak. Not that he can't speak. He's not able to have a conversation with you, right? But he can read.
Right. Yeah. I mean, same here with my grandson. He doesn't speak. But he will tell you everything he wants by pointing. I mean, he's going through, some assessment and all of that. But hey, that is life, right? That is life. We take it as it is. Thinking back to what one of my guests said, whatever life throws at you, say yes.
I say, if you have a lemon, make a lemonade.
Make a lemonade, So we are enjoying every moment with him. He's with me right now. He's upstairs with my, older children and all of that. So it's fun. It's fun. Here to learn, absolutely. Here to learn from the guru. Kemi is the guru here,
I'm very.
How I wish, Femi, I was wearing a hat so I could literally duck up my hat to Kemi. Nice to have you all here. Now, we are talking about embracing Agile. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, I mean, this is Sincerely Agile with Mary, right? So everything we're doing on this platform, it's sort of like, hinges on Agile one way or the other, directly or indirectly. Today, we're looking at embracing Agile. And Kemi is going to be telling us about how her journey started, more or less. And she's going to be also helping us in terms of communicating with our audience who may want to start their journey as well. So my first question to you, Kemi, how did your Agile journey, how did that start?
Thank you for that question. And every time I get, or sometimes I get asked this question, I think deeply into it. Because if we look into our lives, you kind of like try to pull it apart, you realize that you one way or the other are applying that mindset in your life or at work. Because if you prefer to speak to people rather than pick up, write an email. That's me. I hate emails. I still hate emails. I rather pick up the phone and speak to that person. And looking at different ways in which we can do things. Each time I'm doing something, I ask myself, is there another way to do this?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other ways that I can do this, right? So I'm always looking for different ways in which I can do something a lot faster.
Yeah.
And as they say, if you want something done faster, give it to a lazy person, right? I always look at what are the ways I can do this a lot faster so I can move on to something else, right?
Yes.
I guess my journey started there when I started reflecting on ways and I can do stuff. But officially, it is more of someone say there is this thing called Agile. There's this thing called Scrum, and I thought, and at that time I was doing project management, right? I was a project manager, always waiting for a group of people to do their work, looking at the milestones, looking at the schedule, and telling them, "Hey, this is not done." But I hate telling people what to do, right? And so when the opportunity of Agile to actually become a Scrum Master, which I had no clue of, came up, I just jumped at it. That I don't have to tell people what to do. You're just guiding them. You are acting as a container where they can do their job, and you support them into becoming more efficient or productive, right? So invariably, you're managing, also looking at the work that they're doing rather than manage the individual themselves.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, that's just me. Right. And since then, I haven't looked back. I have worked in a lot of organizations as full-time and as a consultant or contractor, whichever the case might be. So since then, yeah, and it's been fantastic. I don't think I have regrets. Leaving project management per se. I have my PMP. I still pay my subscription, so technically I'm still a project manager. So yes.
And how did you actually find, I mean, for example, you said you heard about Agile. So was it that you then decided, okay, let me go take the certification? Did you reach out to somebody? Did you have a job opportunity present itself to you first? How did that opportunity actually come to you?
Yeah, so someone mentioned it, and the way I learn is if I hear something or read something, or no matter how tiny it is, and it catches my interest, I would dig deeper into it. So I started to read books. I started to watch videos on YouTube before even thinking of, do I need to find a job in it? So I had to empower myself. Certification came later into, I think I was probably working as a Scrum Master before I did certification in the CSM. Yeah, I think it's CSM, and even the PMI ACP. Great. Because I don't believe in certification getting me a job, though I have those certifications. But I love to read first, gain more knowledge, and be very confident in what I say and what I do. And gaining that knowledge firsthand helped me to reflect better in what I've been doing, because what I was reading kind of like ties into what I was already doing. Yeah. So, and with that empowerment, I was looking for a job and then certification, because I didn't realize that, how can I, recruiters are looking for certification, and he has to be CSM. I remember attending my class CSM, and my trainer was like, "Why are you here? You seem to know all this." I said, "Yeah, I need the certificate."
Exactly. Exactly. And you're just right up my street here when it comes to certification. And I'm exactly like you. I want to embark on anything, I start digging really, really deep. I mean, I work as a consultant. I'm a researcher. I mean, if you're a consultant, you're a researcher, right? So picking up that, new track and really deep diving is something I do very well myself. And that was exactly what happened to me as well. I started to do a whole lot of research on my own. And for the most part, When I go into a training session for this certification, trust me, I already know 80% of what they want to teach me.
Yeah.
I already know 80 to 85% of what they want to teach
Which
me.
is great. But Mary, sometimes it gets in the way because you're thinking, I know this. Why are they teaching me what I know?
Well, but the thing is, by the time you start going for those jobs, those contracting roles, those high-paying jobs, they're asking you for this
Oh, yes.
certification and that certification, and that is the reason we do those certifications. It's
I
not. It's not
know.
that we lack the knowledge. I mean, this is something we can do by ourselves by virtue of who we are and what
Absolutely.
we do. You
Yeah.
know.
Someone was asking me, a recruiter, and I was interviewing for a job, and they said, well, wow, your resume is impressive. I said, thank you. You have all the certifications and all, and you're still doing more. I said, well, as a consultant or contractor,
Yeah.
I need to be vast.
Exactly.
If you're asking me for something now and I don't have it, what will be the impression? And if
Exactly.
yeah. So
Exactly. Exactly. So this space is certification driven, I would
yeah.
say. It is certification driven.
I'll give you
And
another example, Mary.
yeah.
I have a colleague, and we were going for an interview. We were working with an organization, and then we decided to move, and we applied to the bank here in Canada. Guess what? I got the job.
Okay.
He didn't get the job, even though we were both experienced, and I know that he was even far better than I am, right, in some aspect. So what happened? He said, well, they didn't give him the job because he doesn't have a CSM. I said,
Okay.
what? And they said you had to train him. I thought, no.
And I tell you what, I mean, you know, I train. A lot of people come to me, they already have the certification, but they've had the certification for like a year, 18 months, sometimes more than 2 years. And a lot of them don't even know what to do. Okay, they wouldn't even know how to hit the ground running. So this is why I'm not too driven by certification personally. And this is why with my training, I always tell people it is about getting you hitting the ground running on your first day as a Scrum Master. So thank you there for that response. It is highly certification driven, and I think it's going to be like that for a long time to come. Unfortunately. So did you then think at what point did you think, okay, I think I need to propel myself to agile coaching from Scrum Master role?
That's a great question. I don't think I sat down and I said, oh, I want to become an agile coach. However, there was an organization in which I worked, and there was an agile coach, and they felt that they needed to be telling me what to do. And I thought, is agile coaching about telling people what to do? Is it hierarchical? I wasn't aware of that. And also, if you were not an agile coach, you didn't get a say. You didn't have a place at the table. And that was what made me decided I want to be an agile coach as well, so I can have a voice at the table. Right? Other than that, no, agile coach, Scrum Master, we should be doing the same thing. Right?
Very similar.
Although, as a Scrum Master, you are embedded within a team. And as an agile coach, you kind of like oversee multiple teams, and you're going from one team to the other. So you have a wider scope, and you probably would be opportune to use. I think even as a Scrum Master, you can do scaling, right? There is nothing that stops you from becoming, applying any scaling framework, right? But
if you have the knowledge.
Exactly. But the attitude of the agile coaches back in the days made me decided I wanted to be an agile coach, so I can have a voice.
Oh, fantastic. And Femi is agreeing with you here. Certification came later, familiar story. Experience comes first. Absolutely. Stella, accreditation can be a pain when you know the job and have been doing it for a while. And when you also have to pay a lot of money for it, Stella.
Yes.
Femi, if I was just starting my journey, what I would do differently is acquire my accreditation as I go along, rather than focus on experience only at first. It makes the journey easier. Yeah, I guess you're right there, Femi. I think I have sort of had a balance between experience and certification. The moment I was settled in my role as an agile coach, I then started thinking, okay, maybe I could do that certification and then that one and then that one. During this COVID period, I've had at least 4 certifications. I did my OKR, I did my Agility Health Facilitation, and a couple of others. Yeah, we need it, given that it is highly driven by certification. Hello, Agatha, you're just joining us. Nice to have you here. Now, next question. Was there ever a light bulb moment for you about Agile? And if so, what raced through your mind?
I guess one thing that came to mind is using Agile at home and not just myself, right? There's a personal agility. I have my task board. I have my write down my to-do list and then tick as I go along. One thing that came to mind is using it for my children when they were much younger, and I find myself screaming every time. I'm a yeller, so I scream and yell, and I thought, well, how about if I have this task board at home and we have all this list of chores that needs to be done, who's doing what, and all those kinds of things, and I just manage the tasks. They put a time to when they're going to be completing it, and I'm looking at it. I said, okay, is it time yet? And they've done it, right? And equally, they're taking ownership of it. So they know that when it's 2:00, they've put on the board to do a task. They're doing it. That was just the best thing that happened in my household. That we don't have to start yelling again, and it made my life a lot easier. Wow. So talking about Agile at home, yes, that was it.
Agile at home. For me, talking about light bulb moment with Agile, when I started to really, do my research and get deeper into Agile, what hit me was, there's a lot that we have been doing that is Agile.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole lot that we've been doing that is that fits very well into that Agile, scope, if you like, or space. That was one. And the other one was the fact that for me, because as a consultant, I've been a consultant for 12 years. As a consultant, I always pushed for anything that will humanize the workplace. Okay. So I was doing all of that. I didn't realize I was doing Agile. Do you see what I mean? I wasn't exactly an Agilist. I was a consultant. Okay. I was in organization development and all of that. So I was pushing for emotional intelligence. I was pushing for, clear communication channels. I was pushing for ownership. That was all Agile. So my light bulb moment was, Mary, you've been doing Agile for a long time.
Exactly. That's right.
And then again, in my business, at some point in my career, I started in technology. I was an Oracle DBA for BT and BP. And then I thought, you know what, after 4 children, I wanted to be my own boss. I went into the restaurant business. I was there for about 8-9 years. However, the way I started my business was very Agile, but I didn't know I was doing Agile. The way I structured my business, the way I ran my business as the owner, as a leader, if you like, was very, very Agile. So for me, those were my light bulb moments to say, hey, this is your space already.
Well, you have a growth mindset, right, Mary?
That is it.
You're looking for things to be done in a different way. You're inspecting and adapting how you do stuff, right? It is going to be working for you.
Absolutely.
I get bored easily. So I have to do my things in smaller chunks and get feedback on it, and then get some reassurance that I'm on the right track.
Yeah. Right? And I call myself a lazy leader. And I'll tell you why I say that. I'm quick to train you and coach you so that you can be independent of me. I want you to get on with it as quickly as possible. I want to delegate as quickly as possible so that I can move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
You see? So for me, I've never been in that micromanagement space. I have never been there. So when I got into this Agile space deeper and deeper, I'm like, this is me. So, for me, I'm just loving Agile all the way.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that.
All the way. I think we've got some more questions here, comments. To Femi, with experience, you can better demonstrate your skills to be accredited. I guess so, yes, and it depends on how the accreditation also goes, Stella. There are some accreditations that are based on competencies, isn't it? Not just knowledge, actual skills evaluation. Right. Discovering Agile Community. Now, you are very visible in the Agile space, Kevin, and you do a lot in that space. You have Discovering Agile Community. What was the driver behind starting this community, and what is it all about? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mary. I guess sharing knowledge, helping people to grow, was some of the things that gave me that idea. And there was a time I was in my professional coaching, and we did this exercise about life purpose. And my life purpose came out to be something around the touch that shines on people. I can't remember now how we had to articulate that. However, the way I was doing it was having some negative impact on me. Talk about using a push system versus using a pull system, right? So I would often say to people, "Hey, here is this, here is that. You need this, you need that," and I realized, no, that's not the way to do it. You just become a container, and people can take whatever they need out of that container, and they would use it into what would then become useful for them. So I had to change my way of sharing information.
Yeah.
So the meetup came up and said, yes, bring speakers, presenters, people across. It used to be in person, where we would go to a venue and have people come in within the GTA, but now it's become more open, and we bring people from across the world to come and speak at the webinar. So that way, I'm still fulfilling my life purpose of educating people, but it now becomes you come in and take whatever you want to do. And another aspect of the Discovering Agile community is that we match mentees with mentor. So if you're new to Agile and you want someone to mentor you, we would match you with someone in our database who is willing. And there are lots of them. Oh gosh, I am surprised, and I feel totally what's what I'm looking for. Grateful to the people that we have on our database as mentor and their commitment to it. We have Scrum Alliance certified Scrum trainers, coaches, people who are even on, Scrum.org. I don't want to mention organizations, but just to let you know the caliber of people that have volunteered to mentor people within the Agile space. So it's just phenomenal what people do in the community. You only have to ask. Yeah. So we every quarter place the advert and say, hey, if you're new to Agile, you want to shift career or you want to move to something else within even the Agile space and you need a mentor, we would match you with someone. So those are the two aspects to it. And it's all tied around helping people to grow and sharing the wonderful knowledge of Agile. I think everybody should have that knowledge, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And talking about sharing knowledge, that is something that is so great within the Agile space. I mean, you just said you have a lot of people on your database, and they're always willing to mentor someone. And I think that is so important in this space. And it is something that I find quite fascinating, that the Agile space, we are so giving of our time. Yeah. I mean, look at what we're doing right now. That's part of it, right? Sincerely Agile with Mary. That is part of sharing information, disseminating information,
Absolutely.
creating that space where we can be awesome and wholesome together. It is so important. However, as much as we're doing all of this, what would you say the state of, Agile is in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion, with more diversity in that space? What would you say about that?
That's a question that has always been on my mind, and I must say that they're not very great. The Agile community doing that, and I don't know how to put this in such a nice words because I'm on air. But I'll give you an example. Every time I go to conferences, even within Canada or outside, let's just say the US, I can count the number of Black people who are either attending or speaking or presenting, right? And when you look at even the organizations that are representing, the bodies that are representing Agile or Scrum, what do you see? Who do you see, right? I remember, I think it was in Detroit that I went, or maybe it was the Agile Alliance in Washington. I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. And one person who we would always meet at conferences came to me. I don't want to mention their name. Said to me, "Kemmy," I said, "Yes." Says, "We're increasing in numbers." I said, "Yeah, I noticed too." Right?
Oh. So, but it was just you and that person, right?
No, we saw maybe 5 or 6 other people.
Wow.
Right? I said, "Wow, yes, we are increasing in numbers."
And this is a conference of roughly how many hundred people? How many people in their hundreds?
Oh gosh. The last one we went before the COVID, Anu and I, this was in Texas. Anu and I were going around because we wanted to meet every Black person in that conference. It was just a handful of us, even in the conference, and even the people presenting, right?
And we're talking about a conference of what, 500 people?
You're talking about thousands.
And we're talking about a handful of, minority Black people?
Well, Mary, put it this way. If you are going around to find people.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. It shows you that you can't find them readily in front of you.
Okay, so where do we lay this blame, though?
I don't know. I think I don't know, Mary. Sometimes I think that they want us to be where they want us to be, right? And
how about us? How about us?
And sometimes it's down to us. We don't pull one another up, right?
But that's why you're doing what you're doing in Canada. Discovering Agile Community is also part of reaching out to the communities, right? To the minorities.
It is reaching out to the community, but it is not encouraging. Why not? When it comes to people actually leading, right? And I'm very careful how to say this because of this political correctness, and you can see my hesitation there. It is very hard for people, Black people, to get their commitment and say, "Hey, let's do this." And maybe you can get the commitment, but it's not sustainable, right? Many times I'll have people reach out to me, "Hey, how do you do this thing that you do?" And it's, I'm interested in. Oh yeah, fantastic! Come on board. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
But then maybe a couple of weeks or months down the line, you just don't find them turning up again.
Okay.
Or they would, if they're kind enough, they'll send you a message and say, "Oh, Kemmy, something came up. I don't think I'll be able to give my time again." Oh, yeah.
So there's a problem in the volunteering space. This is what I'm picking up, because we have to give up our time in this space. I mean, I do that, you do that. And in order for us to come into some spaces, sometimes you could be coming in as a volunteer. So are we saying that within our communities, we still have problem with volunteering? Is that it? Is that part of the problem?
I wouldn't say that we don't volunteer. I think it's
No, no, that we don't do it enough. Not that we don't volunteer at all, because I volunteer,
um,
you volunteer.
I think we do it enough. We just are not consistent.
Okay.
So you might get someone volunteering one off, and so this month you might say, "Hey, have you got some time?" Oh yeah, and then you get them for a day, right, or two. But if it's to, and that's where I said leadership. So you
Mhm.
don't get people being involved in the leadership role within the volunteering space
Right.
of it, right?
Right.
Because I think there are about four of it you can do. You can either attend, right? That is still you being involved.
Mhm.
You can participate, right? One off, and then you can start to become part of the leadership group, and then you can organize your stuff just like you're doing, Mary.
Mhm.
So we find ourselves in the bottom two or
Mhm.
participating and being involved. But when it comes to the later, the top two, it is going to be very hard. You would find yourself going solo most of the times,
Mm.
and you have to do things yourself.
And we
You
need to
tell them,
push through that. We need to push through that if we want real change, right? We
Mary,
really need to.
we need to be involved. We need, but I must say that lately I have seen a lot of involvement
Good.
um, in with Black people trying to take the leadership, which is great, right? Um, I am part of the Agile Alliance board, as you know, and I'm not speaking for Agile Alliance. Um, However, the submission which we got, it was quite impressive the number of Black people that applied in
Good.
comparison to other times.
Previous years.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. And of course, I mean, not necessarily agile alone. Across board, I think we really need to, start applying for those board roles so that we can be part of the decision maker, so that we can be part of the strategic decision making, level. I think we need more people in that space.
absolutely,
And I have
absolutely.
seen a few. I have seen a few posts on LinkedIn encouraging people to come into those, non-executive roles. If we want change, we can't just be seeking it. We have to be part of the people who are making this change happen. And I think that is where we really need to put, step up. I think that's where we really do need to step up.
Absolutely. And
Mm,
I always say that to people, if you know I'm somewhere that you want to get into and you think I can help, by all means, reach out to me. I will do as much
mm,
as I can without any conflict of interest. Whatever
yeah,
information I can give, I would
yeah.
do everything to support people because we are not enough. We're not enough where we are.
Mm,
Anna and I decided to do something
mm,
and I'm not gonna because I don't know if she wanted me sharing it. And that was because we wanted to help more Black people,
yeah.
but no one was reaching out to us.
Hmm. I mean, look at what Femi is saying here. Change has to come. DI and diversity and equity, not enough is being done yet. I've collaborated with Mary, Kemmy, Anu, and yet I'm still seeing low numbers. Our people don't show up.
Ah,
Now,
just
this
hit the
is, I
nail
mean,
on the head.
that's hitting the nail right on the head right there. And we need to show up more. That is the truth. We need to show up more. We can't just be in our closets and be wishing for change. We can't just be hiding in
Mary,
our houses and be wishing
we
for
want
change.
things done for us.
We need to move away from that mindset. I
Right?
mean, I often say it's not easy stepping out. I mean, look at this show, for example, Sincerely Agile with Mary. Every Sunday since January. It takes effort.
Of course it does. You won't be
It
sleeping on your bed and think someone is going to help you out.
Exactly. It does take a lot of effort. You coming on the show today has taken what? Maybe 2 hours of your time, right? That I'm not paying for.
Oh, well,
Okay,
not just 2 hours, Mary. You have been telling me I have got to come, but
exactly, exactly. So, exactly. So here we are volunteering our time.
yeah,
Why? Because we want people that look like you and I, more of them in this space. That is why partly why I do what I do. It is to create more awareness about Agile. And I need to be sincere about this.
And I
We
must
need
say
to,
you're doing a fantastic job, right?
thank you.
Doing it. When
Thank you.
I think it was episode, I can't remember the episode. I said, what? Really? I remember when Mary was talking about this, that she wanted to embark on it. She's already
Yeah.
6 months into it. Wow.
Yeah. And it's all about, wanting to give back also. It is also about that burden to just want to encourage more people that look like you and I to come into this space. I mean,
Absolutely.
what's there not to love about being in this space? There's so much to gain. And of course, it means we're going to be taking responsibility, and rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
Rightfully so. So we need more people to come into this space. Um, Absolutely, the responsibility lies with us, not others. I totally agree with that.
Yep.
Asheda Wellington. I totally agree with that.
Where
We
I
need
said,
to take responsibility.
when they don't offer us a chair at the
Yeah.
table, bring yours.
Bring your own chair. Bring your own table.
Right?
Make it happen.
Bring
Make it
your own
happen.
books.
We need to support ourselves and not compete against ourselves. Absolutely.
That's a huge one.
And I must tell you that things are getting better. We still have a long way to go, but things are getting better. And with the Agile community, we have our work cut out for us as Agilists, right? Kemmy and Femi, you're here. And we all know what everyone is doing. I see what you're doing. You see what I'm doing. I see what Femi is doing. I see what Anu is doing. I see what Abi Oshoba is doing. I see what Mercy is doing. We're all trying our best to say, look, we need to widen this space, right? We need to widen this space, but everybody needs to pull their weight. Like Kemi is saying, I invite you and then you don't show up. Femi just said it too. We're not showing up. I mean, we're not going to come and drag you out of your houses. And these things cost money, but you need to put your money where your mouth is, right? Going to a conference will set you back some money, but hey, what are you going to learn at that conference?
You're going to meet a lot of people.
That is a good place to start. So we need to also start thinking about investing in ourselves, right? We really need to start thinking about investing in ourselves. There's an Agile conference going on. It's going to cost me £1,200 to attend. So what? If you can afford it, it is an investment.
Yep.
It is an investment.
People tell me, Kemmy, you know so many people. How come you know so many people? So, well, because I invested in knowing so many people.
Exactly.
I invested in knowing so many people, yes.
And another place to start is to join membership. It doesn't even have to be a physical conference. It could be, for example, Agile Alliance. You can be a member for what? $50.
Yeah.
You can be a member for $50, $49 for the whole year. Yeah. Renewable. And the resources on Agile Alliance, it's unbelievable.
It is brilliant. And we need more Black people, people from Africa, people from the UK, people from everywhere to join and just support.
Absolutely.
And one thing I know is that one person cannot do it all by themselves.
No.
Right? So if you're thinking that, oh, well, I am not going to be supporting other people. Look at it this way.
Yeah.
You're just going to be the only person doing it. And you will struggle to find others to believe in you.
Absolutely.
But when and I'm just trying to point out to what I think it was Samuel Agata, I'm not sure, talking about getting each other into it.
Yeah.
And pulling one another. If you're not doing that and gaining support, you're not going to go far. Because you need people to spread that message. So if you form a chain of support, and everyone is speaking from the same hymn book, so to say, we spread the message a lot quicker.
Absolutely, right? We do. I mean, we're talking about discovering Agile Community, and that sort of took us into diversity, equity, and inclusion. And my next question was actually on that, but it seems we've covered most of that question. What else can you say about diversity and inclusion in this space?
I think we just need to take it and start working on it. I know things have changed in the last 2 years. Organizations are now being called out. However, I don't want to be a number. I don't want to be, hey, we need to have this Black person on our space or board. So let's bring Kemmy in. No, we need to work for it. and I mentioned something earlier, it feels as if they put us where they think we should be, right? But we don't want that. We want to be where we want to be, right? And by encouraging one another to say, hey, Mary, you might be interested in this thing. Why don't you apply? If you need
That's
anything,
right.
let me know. Or, Mary, you need these skills. You need these skills if you want to be this.
Yeah.
Right? Or even mentoring someone and said, hey, I've gone through this. We don't have that many people in my organization. Let me show you how I do it so that you can apply. So those kinds of things. However, we ourselves needs to be interested.
Yeah.
I remember some years ago, someone came to me, they wanted to be a Scrum Master. And I said, fine, I'm going to train you to be a Scrum Master if you want to. So here are the dates I have training. And they said, oh, it is going to be really busy in my organization at that point, at those dates. I said, oh, okay, that's all right. What days works for you? And they said, oh, it's December. It is always busy. I said, you have your own business? No, they work for Amazon fulfillment.
Okay.
They couldn't take 2 days off.
2 days off.
Guess what? The person is back in Nigeria now, and I'm not trying to disparage them. I'm just saying that you don't work for people and think you should be loyal to them. You've got to have your own way of doing things.
I mean, just make up time to develop yourself. That is all it is.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying because they didn't do the 2-day training is why they're in Nigeria. But what I'm trying to say is that if you better yourself and get your own business set up, or maybe you've taken a training and now got a job that would help you with a work permit.
A good job. Yeah. A good job. I have advised mentees to drop. I've had mentees come to me and they're pulling like 3 low-paid jobs. And I'm like, if you drop 1 job, are you good with 2 in terms of paying your bills and all of that so that you can concentrate on upgrading yourself? I have often given that advice. Otherwise, you're just going to be like a hamster in a wheel, just working to pay your bills and never, ever improving. And before you say Jack Robinson, you spent 10 years in that low-paid job.
I was saying to my 19-year-old, because he was asking me what he needed to do in terms of work, school, and everything. And he said, well, sometimes you need to sacrifice the present for the future. So as you're working on what you need to do now, you're equally looking into the future.
That's right.
And bringing things in because you're going to need them.
Yeah.
You will be uncomfortable. You will be stressing yourself, but it will pay off.
In the end.
He called me the other day and said, this job is just, I said, okay, now you know what I go through when I spend money.
Exactly. Yeah. So, the onus is on us. We can't just be looking to others to create diversity and inclusion for us. We have a lot of work to do in our space.
We have to do. We need to educate people.
Educate people.
Yes.
Encourage one another. Share information, which is what we're doing right here, right now. Take it far and wide, and not hoard information. And I think that is one, disservice we have done ourselves also within the BAME. Well,
of what use is information you have when you're not sharing it?
Of what use is it if you're not sharing it? Of what use is it if you're not sharing it? And so we really need to be available. Yeah.
Let me use this opportunity to say that Scrum Alliance has sent out information about the board. Please, if you're a member of Scrum Alliance, either nominate yourself to be part of the board or you nominate someone else. Let's be part of this. We can't change things if we're not part of it. And so it goes for any other board or Scrum or Agile body as well.
Any board at all. And I said earlier that we have to invest in ourselves. Earlier on this year, I spent about £2,000 to join a community. £2,000 to join a community where I can be trained and be prepared for non-executive roles. So I'm already thinking I want to be a part of that board that are making these decisions, because I'm saying what I'm saying now because of what Ronke is saying here. If we are not there, then the conversations that affect us will not be brought up. It's that simple.
Absolutely. And Mary, we need to look at it, our attitude towards spending. Are you looking at it as an expense, or you're looking at it as an investment?
It's an investment,
right? Yeah,
it was an investment, and it was money I let go very gladly.
Right. So if you see it as an investment, then you will be spending and figuring out, how can I get some money to invest in myself?
Yeah.
But if you see it as an expense, then it's going to be very hard to part with.
It's going to be very hard to part with that. It's going to be very hard. There's another program I'm going on next year. It's £5,000. For me, that is money to be invested in me, for my growth, for my development, for my success. You've got to put your money where your mouth is, right?
But Mary, there are certain people who are weighing the options of, do I buy my Owambe party clothes, or do
I mean, that's not to say I don't do parties occasionally, but hey, we've got to get our priorities right here, okay? I mean, Ronke, I'm saying that because of what you've just said, and that is so true. That is so true. If you're not in the board, if you're not part of the decision-making, pool, who's going to talk about your problem?
No, you're not going to represent you. You're not.
Who's going to represent you? So let us invest
that's
in
why
ourselves.
I've always said we need to have a representative everywhere. We need to have a representative.
Absolutely, absolutely. Continuous learning and culture. Absolutely, Femi. Continuous learning culture. We need to keep investing in ourselves. We really need to keep investing in ourselves. I mean, the other day, I can't remember what it was that happened, and we're talking with my daughter, and she goes, "Mommy, you know a lot." I said I invest in myself a lot, and I also spend time, researching. And aside from even spending money, the internet is there for us to use. I mean, Kemmy, I say we all spend money to get data, right? To have access. And this is what I say, Kemmy, if you exhaust your data and you learn nothing new online, for me, it is synonymous to paying tuition and not attending classes. That is what the internet is to me today. The internet is a university. Yeah. The internet is a university. Okay, Stella, Kemmy, comfort zone is a thing, and fear is often a factor too. It is, but are you better off, in that comfort zone? I mean, it could be hard in your comfort zone. It could also be hard in that zone of fear. Choose your hard, right? Choose your hard, Stella. We need to choose our hard. And I know how I'm choosing my hard.
Yeah, you really need to choose your battle. I love my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I've come to realize that if I don't move, nothing is going to shift.
Nothing's going to shift.
Someone said to me, Kemmy, we'll all at some point have to parent ourselves, right? You need to parent yourself and say, hey, you can do this. Come on, go for it. Or you're so hard on yourself and say, what is wrong with you? Why are you still sitting in a place? Come on, get off your butt and just do something.
Have a conference with yourself. Have a conference with yourself. And you know what? Making those moves away from our comfort zone, it's not without fear, Stella. You are right. It's not without fear.
I mean,
but we have to move in spite.
Yeah.
But we still have to move in spite of that fear, right? We still have to summon that courage and move in spite of fear. Starting Sincerely Agile with Mary was not without fear. But I tell you, this platform has brought opportunities. It has. Today, I attend interviews and they're like, tell us about Sincerely Agile with Mary. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like Oprah Winfrey right now.
I mean, you are, right?
I'm feeling like Oprah Winfrey. I'm like, okay, they're talking about my show. Okay, that's cool. But this only started in January. And it wasn't without fear. But I hit the road anyway. And that is what we're encouraging.
You'll never know if you didn't start, right?
You'll never know. You'll never know. You'll never know. And that's what we're here to do today, to encourage people to come into this agile space. And Stella is going to be joining us very soon. She's coming into the agile space. Oh, yes. Oh yes,
That would be great.
she's been so consistent on this show. So she's heard so much about Agile. She's seen
She's
so many
learning
Agilists come
from the
on the
best
show,
too,
and she's like,
which is
Mary,
you.
I think I want to know this Agile thing. I said, I've been waiting for you to say it. I didn't want to tell you, come, come, come. I've been waiting for you to want it, and I'm happy she does. So she's going to be joining us very soon.
That would
Very,
be
very soon.
awesome.
Very, very awesome. And I can tell you already that she's already an Agilist. She just doesn't know it.
I know. All
She
those
just doesn't know it.
LinkedIn.
She's a consultant, she's a trainer, and her training is just out of this world when it comes
Let's
to
just time for certificate. Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club. Oh dear, thank you so much, Stella. Now, Kemmy, you have Sprintify. This is a company you've just started, right? Tell us very quickly about it.
Yes, and we're turning things around because what we initially had planned for isn't working. So Sprintify basically is all around teaching 21st century skills to people, most importantly youth, and people who want to change their career.
Okay, cool.
In the beginning, I told you about my life purpose, which is to educate people and get people out of poverty as a result of being educated. Yeah, so that ties to my life purpose as well. So Sprintify is aligned to the SDGs 1 and number 8. So poverty and equality in job. Because one thing I realized is that when I came to Canada, there was, oh, you don't have Canadian experience. And then when I moved to the UK back then too, it was, you don't have UK experience. It's always, so how am I going to get the experience when no one...
If you don't give me the chance.
Right. So that is one aspect of Sprintify to help people gain experience. The other aspect of it is that we don't wait for people to be out of colleges, university, wherever, post-secondary, for them to start learning that I have missed out on the skills, the techniques that would help me to gain a job. So, and I one thing that resonates with me when I'm talking about Sprintify, which I'm going to share, is Desmond Tutu's, Reverend Desmond Tutu's saying that stop trying to get people out of the river. Go and meet them at the bank and find out why they get into the river in the first place. Right? So prevention. Exactly. Stop waiting for people to be out of universities. Start teaching them. And another thing we're doing with the NGO, which you simply because you put it up, is that we're now going into schools to teach 21st century learning in Nigeria, right? So that way the kids learn about problem solving, they learn about collaboration, working within a team. When you talk about 21st century skills in Nigeria, the only thing that pops up is the ICT. But 21st century skills is more than the ICT.
It's more than that. It is more than that. I totally agree.
Yeah. So we're leveraging on Scrum Alliance, Creative Commons on the Agile Edge. So they're doing that, and we got people, volunteers, who are starting in September. So we're putting them through the training, and they can go into the schools, and we're training them and catching them young, as I said.
Thank you so much, Kemmy. Thank you. We're coming slowly to the hour. And if you want to know more about the NGO, that's it right there. Kemmy, I cannot thank you enough for the time you have invested here with us. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. And we will be having you again. We won't let you go so easily. We will be having you again. Because there's so much happening.
You know, it's the time, right?
Fantastic. You are doing a lot. You are doing a lot. And I can only say, you know what? Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming to Sincerely Agile with Mary. So we'll see you some other time, right? Thank you so much, Kemmy. Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. And to our guests, I can't thank you enough for showing up every single Sunday. Next week, we're going to be talking to Rochelle Clark. Now, the topic for next week is succession planning. We're looking at businesses. Why is it that a lot of businesses do not transcend generations? Now, you don't want to miss this. She's great at her craft. And who knows, you might learn a thing or two. Until then, thank you so much for always showing up. Keep learning and keep growing and stay awesome as always. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you very much.